Hey crew, I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm sitting down with Becca from Her Song Columbus, where that is the charity that we are in support of with the Women Expanding Limits event. And we talk all about the amazing work that they are doing with women that have previously been sex trafficked and just shedding some light on a really dark area. And I want to give a warning to those that maybe have been through some similar circumstances or just might feel triggered from that type of conversation. We don't go too graphic. There's nothing too detailed with it, but I do just want to give a heads up that we do talk about sex trafficking. We talk about the prevalence of it here in Columbus, Ohio. And so would love to have you listen, but completely understand too if this is just too much for you. But anyway, enjoyed the episode. Excited for our support with them. And I'll see y'all soon.
What is up, crew? Welcome to Seek the Edge podcast with me, Kelsey Lensman, where our message through XYL, through this podcast, is to challenge you outside of your comfort zone so you can realize and step into the God-given potential inside. And today's specific podcast I'm so excited about because I have a guest, a friend with me here with a big announcement that we're going to have through our mission and our purpose. But I told her I'm going to go into a longer intro because this is so much bigger than me just asking her some questions. This actually stems from a random tattoo. I only have 2 tattoos, and this is one of them on my arm. And this tattoo is for the one. And this entire tattoo is based on the Luke 15, 4-7 in the Bible. And it's the parable of the lost sheep. And I'm just going to read this verbatim to you because this preps up what we're going to talk about and announce today. And so Luke 15, 4-7, it says, "Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep.' I tell you, in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over the 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent." And I've always been personally very drawn to the story of him leaving the 99 to go get the one, because when you think about it, well, why would I leave the 99 to go get the one, right? That's the minority. The majority is the 99. And I felt really drawn to this because there is so much power in showing up for the one. The one woman who feels lost. The one girl that's been overlooked. The one survivor who needs to know that they're seen, that they're loved, that they're valued, that they haven't been given up on. And I think the reason I personally feel so drawn to this and I have it tattooed on my arm is because at times I've felt like the one. I have gratefully an amazing family and friends that have been around me. But even with that gratitude, I felt the one that hasn't had as much confidence, right? I felt the one that, wasn't as capable as the other people that I saw doing those things. And so for those, we work a lot with our events of being for the women that aren't just the big athletes, but the moms, the grandmas that never thought that they could do something, so they could show them the capability that they have inside. And so our goal here is to, yes, continue to step into that next level for ourselves, but also extend a hand back of the version that you used to be or that step back that somebody isn't there yet, but to pull them forward here. And so as we continue to build our events and our mission to show women of what's possible, this is where we created the For the One campaign, which is where Beck comes in. And with this campaign, we choose one specific charity that we want to focus on and support and not just highlight, but to make a difference in. And for our big Women Expanding Limits event this fall, our charity that we have chosen, which is actually through a prayer that I was not expecting, was, I was going to say For the One Columbus, is Her Song Columbus. And Her Song Columbus stands with survivors, and we stand with survivors of human trafficking. And they provide long-term residential survivor care, victim outreach, and personalized care coordination that helps women move from that survival-based existence to a purposeful and self-sufficient living. And after that intro, today we have Becca Delk. She is the Community Engagement Coordinator of Her Song Columbus that I cannot wait to not just share and shed more light on Her Song Columbus, but to also hear your story, what drew you into this. And it's something that gratefully I've known a lot about, but I haven't been as connected in it, you know, and not everybody has that story of me. There's people that have gone into that world on a deeper end. So welcome to the show, and I'm excited to, one, announce that we're in support with you about, but also have you on to specifically shed light on it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kelsey. I'm really honored to be here today to talk about Her Song, but also talking about that message of the For the One. I feel like that is such a biblical mandate, as well as like a view of how Her Song looks at our programming, but how we should look as believers, looking towards others. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. And you and I first met honestly, it was only a couple weeks ago. It hasn't even been that long.
Like 3
but then
weeks
our
ago.
lives have actually been like intertwined in so many wild ways.
Yeah.
But what I would first love to do is just share a little bit of your story of what led you to Her Song Columbus, or just in sex trafficking in general, because that's a very heavy thing. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about that too.
Absolutely. I feel like looking back on my story, it's one of those things you don't expect yourself to be within a certain career or within a certain sector, things like that. But God weaves it into your DNA of what you're going to be doing. And so I guess my story with Her Song started all the way back. I guess I'll start with my story of why I got involved in anti-trafficking in general. Yeah. So this goes all the way back to when I was a senior in high school. I had just a passion for missions and evangelism and things like that. And so my dad actually took me on 3 different international mission trips. So I went with my dad to Costa Rica, Jaco, Costa Rica, Honduras, and then we went back again to Jaco, Costa Rica. Oh my God. So the second time that we went to Costa Rica, our service project was working in an orphanage during the day, and then kind of partnering with the church at night with a lot of just the pastoral care, encouraging the pastoral leadership team there. Okay. And one of the nights we served at the orphanage, we did like a vacation Bible school, that type of thing. And then at night we were going to go to this restaurant. And on our way there, we took a wrong turn, or honestly, looking back on it, I do believe that the pastor might have took that way so that he would open our eyes to what was happening right there in Jaco. And we saw a red light district firsthand. And so in seeing that, we saw women going out to taxis, just a lot of activity going on. And me being 18 years old, I was like, well, what's going on? Like, why are there so many people here? And asking all these questions that I didn't really know what sex trafficking could look like or what prostitution could look like in that time. And the pastor kind of explained to us that many of the women that were involved in prostitution within Jaco, their kids were actually the individuals that were in the orphanage that we were serving at during the day. And because at the time they were from a different country, they were from Nicaragua, and they had come to Costa Rica and couldn't legally work yet. And so they felt like their only means to an end would be to enter into the sex industry. And that completely broke my heart. Yeah. And it kind of changed the trajectory of what I wanted to do later on. And so then going back to school, to college, I wanted to do something with business, but I always had this passion of thinking back to that night, of seeing these women that in their eyes there's this just brokenness, and not in any way that they're broken, but they're in a broken circumstance, and how there's so much disconnect within our world. And so after seeing that, the Lord just kind of started a fire in my heart about it, and I really wanted to get engaged. And so after college, I ended up finding a job. Actually, I'm originally from Wisconsin, but found a job at an organization that's here, Freedom a la carte, that does workforce development with women that were previously trafficked, which I'll talk to a little bit in the continuum of care later on. And through that, God has kind of bounced me from Freedom a la carte, and then I was working later on for an organization called Scarlet Hope,
Mm-hmm.
who did strip club outreach.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're reaching women with resources, with the gospel, with getting equipped that were still in the industry if they wanted to escape. And one of those resources we got them connected to was Her Song. And that's how I found Her Song. And that's how God led me to Her Song. And the thing that I've loved about being a part of the Her Song team is there's many different outreach organizations, which we need them. But there needs to be a landing spot for these ladies, specifically locally. And Her Song is a residential program, which we'll talk to later on, that serves women that are trying to get out of the situation, but might not have the resources or the relationships to do so.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I ended up in Her Song. One of the women from the previous outreach I was a part of ended up going through the programming and flourishing that way. And I really saw the impact. And so when the opportunity arose, I ended up transitioning onto their team. So that's a long story, but it goes to show that like the Lord is weaving many different organizations together for these ladies, and equipping them and empowering them and showing them their God-given value and purpose.
Oh,
So.
that's so. What I heard in your initial story, which is so much even deeper than you just having a desire, but you've experienced it to some extent, especially when you were really young. And what I heard there was many of them from what you communicated, like they felt like they had no option. Like they felt like that was the means that they had, you know? And it sounds like through Her Song and through also the other organizations that you worked with, like you've walked alongside of a lot of these women, whether it be an outreach or specifically with Her Song in that longer term care.
Yes.
So what have you learned while walking alongside of these women?
Yeah, I would say a lot. If I had to say two different things, I feel like the first would be the power of resilience, of getting back up after circumstances have not gone your way, of overcoming different barriers. Many of the women that we're walking alongside have not had a driver's license for quite a few years because of the situation they were in, or maybe they got stuck in trafficking when they were 16 years old, so they haven't graduated. And so once they've come out of that trafficking situation, they have many different things to overcome. And seeing the resilience of ladies, of continuing to try, of having a positive attitude, and just seeing the power that there is in that. And I think the second thing would be the power of community, and that healing happens in community. And the thing that I love about Her Song is it's not just one woman going through this program, it's a cohort of ladies or ladies that are within phase portions of the program. So it's not just her working on her sobriety, her well-being, her mental health. It's her coming alongside someone who's been in a very similar situation, obviously a little bit different, but they're able to share those experiences, and they're not feeling isolated by those experiences, because they're saying, that happened to you, that happened to myself too, and we can do this, and we can do this together in community. So I would say those are my two things. I've seen lots of resilience, and I've seen the power that happens when we break down our walls and are a little vulnerable with one another and are able to heal alongside one another. So
That's so powerful.
yeah.
It's in a similar fashion, but different way. We talk a lot about resilience, you know, and we talk a lot about needing community around you. Like you're not, in my opinion, like you're not meant to do life alone. And I know in my own life, when I've seen other women that do something that I didn't think I could do, but I'm like, wait, they had similar circumstances to me. Well, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
And even in certain changes that I made in my life, when I had people that were like, hey, you're not the only one, or hey, this is the right path for you, when sometimes we want to go back to just what we know. Doesn't mean it's helpful for us, but it's what we know. That community is so important. So that's why
accountability in
yes,
community too is a big thing.
Yeah. And I do want to dig into her song Columbus specifically, but I want to prep this with how I first found out about it, because I always want to combine our events to a really impactful mission, and it to be more than just lifting a weight or running a mile. Like, I want these women doing it to know that it's for something bigger than them. And I was actually going down a route of a few different charities that I really loved their mission, but I just kept coming up against a brick wall, like just something. It was more of a resistance that I was trying to push through. And I'm like, there's just something off with this. So I've learned over the last couple of months, Kels, get out of your way. Like, quit trying to muscle your way through it, and like genuinely ask God, who does he want you to partner with? So I'm like, okay, like, let me try this new way, right? and so one morning before I went to my power list for the day, I took a moment and I just prayed. And I was like, God, I want you to show me who you want me to partner with for this event. Like, I'm tired trying to do it on my own. Like, just reveal that to me, because I already know that you have a purpose and a mission for this. And this won't happen all the time, so I don't want to get people's expectations up. It could, but I remember I got out of that prayer time, and at that same time that I was praying, an email came through from a close friend of mine that mentioned about your charity. He goes, by the way, I don't know if this is of any benefit to you. Didn't even ask him about a charity. He's like, but I know one of the people that work with Her Song Columbus and just similar missions that you have. And I was like, the exact time that I was praying was when this email came through and this connection was made. And then you and I started talking, and there's just so much synergy of what that we can do to provide value, but also the value that you're providing to our community through what you're doing. So there was no coincidence that this was meant to happen, and I'm grateful for you all in the work that you do and shedding light. So can you share with us more about Her Song Columbus and how Her Song works and all of those details?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Her Song, I'll start with our mission statement, which albeit it's a little long, but we exist to interrupt the cycle of human trafficking by empowering survivors with holistic support to champion their journey towards freedom. So again, it's a long mission statement, but what do? We do victim outreach. So we are reaching women where they're at. So through our outreach arm, we are reaching out to women in local jails and prisons, as well as connecting with community allies or organizations who might have women who would qualify for our services, who would be identified as a survivor of human trafficking, and law enforcement, things like that. We're also getting referrals from different hotlines. So when you're calling that National Human Trafficking Hotline, it's being referred to different organizations. So that's one of the ways that we are able to connect with ladies. Through that, we also do care coordination. So that's essentially light case management. So say a woman who is in the industry and it has been identified that she's a survivor of human trafficking. She wants to get out, but doesn't want to make that long leap to long-term residential care, because it is a commitment of women in our programming are there for around a year, sometimes even more than a year, of really getting to the foundational aspects of healing. So again, victim outreach, care coordination, and then our third branch is long-term residential care. And so if a woman is desiring to make that next step towards freedom, or she is able to get there through like a hotline, she is working with us for 12 months to 18 months, 2 years, in really restarting her life. Before I get into that, though, I should have backed up before and just explained what human trafficking is.
Actually, yeah, I should have gone into that. That'd be great for you to dig into.
And I say that because I feel like I didn't necessarily realize what it was when I got involved in this type of work. And so the legal definition is there has to be force, fraud, or coercion, and a third party is benefiting from an individual's either commercial sex acts or labor or any type of thing.
Okay.
And so it looks so much different than we think it looks like, and that's why our programming is formed the way that it is. So, and you might be asking this later on, so I apologize for
pull it
getting
in
right
now.
into
I'm
it.
okay with it. Yeah.
But oftentimes when you're thinking of human trafficking, we are thinking women that have, like if you're thinking of the movie Taken, of a woman is at a mall and she's taken by a white van and then she's forced into this life. And yes, that could be one scenario, but it is by far the minority of scenarios. So many of the ladies that we're working with on that third piece of residential care, they have been involved in sex trafficking because we work with adult survivors of sex trafficking. And many of the times their story is overlapping with substance use disorder and or some type of familial pressure to be within the trafficking situation or to be selling sex per se. And because of that, our residential programming is based a little bit different than what one might think. It's very much based on recovery, substance use disorder recovery, as well as the trauma that she's encountered when she's been in the trafficking situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to the residential piece then. So we're a 3-phase program. The first 6 months, a woman, when she's pulled out of that situation, is really focusing on those foundational needs of, think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of just food, safety, shelter, but then also the ones that are a little bit further up of like love, belonging, self-actualization, those types of things. We're working with a woman in the foundational aspects of giving her a safe home, a safe place to stay, food, classes, things like that. And then as she's moving through the program, we're moving up higher on this hierarchy of needs, working towards education goals, working towards career goals, things like that. But that's kind of what our long-term residential program looks like, is we're walking alongside a woman throughout all stages of her journey.
I love that.
So.
What's as they progress from that, because it, from us talking, but also you today, it's a year, potentially year and a half progression from it. Do they graduate, or what is that? What's kind of the end goal for them?
Yes. So the end goal is for a woman to truly be thriving, to be self-sufficient financially, to have a full-time job, to be connected and supported by like her community. But there is a graduation, so that happens 12 months after she comes into our program. We do a whole milestone celebration is what it's called.
That's cool.
And we'll celebrate with her, not only her being in the program for that long, but other milestones such as if she has like reunification with her children, or if she's gotten a GED during that time, or if she has repaired broken relationships with her family during that time. We really want to celebrate every single milestone that has happened those past 12 months for her. So there is a graduation towards the end of the programming per se. For each of the
That's so
ladies.
cool.
So
Do you, and I don't know how much you can disclose, so you don't do names, but is there a story that comes to mind with that? Because it hits so much more home. All this is amazing. But when you understand that these are people and every person has a story, it can hit so much closer to your heart. So does anything come to mind for that?
there's a lot,
Yeah.
if I'm honest, just over the years of working at different organizations. And I want to speak to why I got involved in Her Song again, and I'll speak to that woman's story.
Oh, okay, let's go. I'm in.
And so that individual I actually met through Scarlet Hope, the organization I was working with in their outreach. So she had been working at a club. She had had trafficking as part of her past and had gotten into the adult entertainment industry from that trafficking experience originally. So she was under 18, was kind of, there was a forced fraud or coercion. She got into it. and had been in it until she was actually in her mid-30s. And so she had been there for 15 plus years, waiting to get an opportunity to leave, to have some type of self-sustainment on the other side. And she had gotten reached out to through the club outreach portion. We kind of befriended her, things like that. And what she really needed at the time was, yes, safe housing, but also someone to believe in her. And I literally remember this because she had called wanting to get out of the situation because at the time she was kind of on the fence about it. And I found out that she at the time was living less than a mile away from me and my husband in Columbus, and was at a hotel at the time and was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my next step would be. And I had known about her song because we had that relationship with Scarlet Hope for a while, and kind of said to her, well, would you be open to taking this step? It seems kind of drastic of like, you're kind of committing to a year. Right. You are going through these different steps. And she said, yeah, I definitely, I would be interested. And through that, she went through, we have a small like interview process for ladies, and it's really just like the intake process to see how we can equip them in the best way. Her song can equip them in the best way. And she got plugged in. She had a medical issue because of her trafficking situation that was able to get resolved. She was able then to get connected to a mentor, a spiritual mentor, which we do for part of our programming. Cool. And it was so impactful to see her, knowing her previously when she had been in the industry, even like her physical presence of how she looked compared to 6 months down the road when she had gotten the support that she had needed and had a full new community of individuals that wanted to support her. It was so impactful to see. And now, as she's progressed through the program, she actually ended up moving to a different state now, but I still keep in contact with her, but she calls Ohio like her home because she's had this support. And that was the place, her song was the place where she was able to get out of where she was previously. And so it's just been so impactful for my own journey, and it really inspires me in this work of seeing ladies kind of their beginnings and where they're at now. And yes, it's a journey, but seeing how much progress can be done when someone has a safe spot to land and has people that love them around them and are showing them that their value is not in these things that the world has told them is previously in. So that was a long-winded answer, but
no, that's special. I mean, what you said in there, just one thing stood out to me is like she had somebody that believed in her, and through that belief, she was able to borrow your belief or whoever else belief in her to pursue a better life for her.
We had a devotional recently for her song with some of the ladies, and we called it Borrowed Hope. Of if you feel like you don't have hope today, like borrow it from someone else. Of knowing that there is hope and they are exuding it, you can borrow that. And you might want to borrow it for one day, you might have to borrow it for a month. But as long as you are lifting your eyes up of knowing that there is hope at the end of your journey, that's the most impactful portion.
I love that. I mean, it's so true. And for those that are listening, they might need to borrow that hope or belief in pursuing, whether it be faith or fitness or relationship. Like it's almost, it's in my brain, it's almost like the same thing, just different areas or avenues or worlds that people live in. Like we're humans. We all are challenged with the same things to some capacity, but the outlets can look different or the circumstances can look different, and that's where I think a lot of people, even myself included, it can feel like it's far away. Like I've never, like when I talked to you for that first time, I'm like, I never knew this was in my backyard. I didn't know that these resources and this and that was in my backyard. But it can hit so close to home. Belief, hope, people believing in you, you know, and feeling loved, feeling valued, feeling seen. All of those things are human existence, things that we can be challenged with, you know, but just like you and I always believe and talk through is like, you do have value. There is purpose for you. If you're breathing, that there's a reason for it. It's not just that you're randomly here. Like he has a purpose for you. And whether you're Beck, whether you're somebody in her song, whether you're somebody that's competing at our event, there is purpose for you still.
Yes.
And with that, what do you feel like, Beck, is one or two of the most misunderstood things, whether it be about her song Columbus and sex trafficking or women going through it? What do you think those are?
I would say two different things. I think one misunderstanding is that it doesn't happen here or that it happens internationally. And so, for instance, going back to my story of I saw it in Jaco, Costa Rica, and I was like, well, surely that's probably not happening in the U.S., so maybe I'll go back to school and move somewhere internationally and get involved in this. And no, like it is happening here. Specifically in Ohio, we are 5th ranked for number of human trafficking cases per capita in the U.S.
What?
Yes. And I was shocked by that moving here, but we are very high on the list. And I think the other states is like Florida, Texas, New York, and Chicago, like Illinois, Chicago. It's one of the major cities that I'm blanking on right now. But yes, so we're 5th, and so it's happening here, and we can't turn a blind eye to it. And the reasons for it is like multifold, which I could go into, but like it's tied to the opioid epidemic that we have here within Ohio. Is tied to our transient immigrant population that's been growing, and that has vulnerabilities to it. So trafficking won't look like it looks internationally either. So I think that's a big misconception on that end. And I think the second misconception would be that women who were previously trafficked or survivors or in that subpopulation are some different population than ourselves. Like these are women that are across all socioeconomic like barriers, all ethnicities, all races, all backgrounds. Even women, when I was experiencing for outreach, it was women that I didn't necessarily expect of that organization at the time. We had done something called text outreach. So we were reaching women via text that were selling online. And it was women that were sometimes in their 40s, 50s, even in their 60s that were still stuck in the industry or had been trafficked in the industry for that period of time. And so I think that that's a big misconception too. And again, it goes back to like we're all struggling with different circumstances and obviously different situations that we have been in. But in that healing process, it's also like the same things of showing someone that they have value outside of how they look or outside of what their job was or outside of themselves. And so I guess that would be my two thoughts on like misconceptions within the trafficking sector, anti-trafficking sector, essentially.
Do you have any data, whether it be like in Ohio, Columbus, or her song? Do you have any data with regards to that?
Yeah. So thinking about, okay, let's go nationally.
Okay.
So nationally or worldwide, they say that it's expected that 50 million individuals today are stuck in some type of trafficking. And that's not just sex trafficking. Okay. Sex trafficking is, I would presume, more prevalent domestically, but it is also internationally. But that's including like labor trafficking or organ harvesting, or all these different things that are just exploitation of humans per se. Speaking on the local level, again, like we're 5th in Ohio for human trafficking cases per capita, and the immigrant population, talking into that, 77% from 2023 to 2024 of our population growth has been from individuals coming from different countries. And with that comes quite a bit of vulnerabilities. And we've been seeing that also on like the social service side or in outreach per se, of trying to equip individuals in that way. Some data I would say, like for her song wise, I can get into, but so for instance, her song as a whole, we have over 43 beds. We have over 40 beds. It's 43. I'm not sure if it's a little bit more than that, so I'm saying over 40 beds. And like we are desiring to have more beds because there is a national shortage statistically. So in the U.S., we said 50 million worldwide, which is just like, you don't even think that's a real number when you're thinking about it. But in the U.S., it's expected that around 300,000 individuals have been involved in some type of trafficking. And again, that's broader. It's not just sex trafficking. And currently, there's only 1% of beds available compared to that 300,000.
Wow.
So there's around 3,000.
That was good math.
I know.
That was great math.
I was going to say, let me like triple check on that. There's around, like at max around like 3,000 beds that are specifically like safe housing for individuals. So there's this huge gap currently, which we've seen on our end too, which is why we are trying to continue to expand and whatnot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those, it just hits even closer to home because it's, you know, you hear this about trafficking but to really understand the numbers of it is just another level, you know?
Yeah.
And before we transition to what our goals are, is there anything else with regards to her song or trafficking that you feel like people need to hear or light needs to be shed on for it?
Yeah. I think one thing I'd like to hit on is, again, like who it could happen to and whatnot. Because, again, we think, oh, this is an individual who's a survivor of sex trafficking. Like, this is like a one-off type of situation. But, like, as community members, as, like, sisters that want to lock arms with these women that have been through situations, we want to identify what red flags there might be within our even our social circle per se. And so just like key vulnerabilities could be someone who you've met who has a struggle making eye contact, someone who has someone that's speaking on behalf of them, someone who doesn't have their own phone. That was a huge barrier throughout our outreach efforts for the previous org that I worked for, because a woman might not have access to her phone if we're texting it and trying to get her into safety. Someone who has had vulnerabilities in their past, who's been through the foster care system or things like that. Those are things to look for. And I think a big question that people have after that is like, well, what do I do then?
That's exactly where I was going. So you hit the nail on the head.
Well, what do I do? Like, we learn all these things, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing would, again, be identifying it, but then to get them referred to the right organization. So you can, I'll give you this, but you can call the National Human Trafficking Line, and that'd be like the first step if you see it where you're at, to call them. Another opportunity, if you're there with the individual, if it's safe to do so, could be giving her the number to our Hope Line. And so her song has a Hope Line. It's not a hotline. So I would have them call the national hotline first. But the Hope Line could get them connected to our organization in safe housing. Because sometimes how a trafficking situation might work is a woman has a spot to stay, but needs to have some type of exit plan. And her song could be that exit plan, but we would need to do some coordination beforehand so that she can safely get out of the situation.
Right.
So it's like knowing those numbers right away.
Yeah.
I feel like is key, and having the right people involved. So
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it's helpful for me to, because I wouldn't know, where do you go? What do you do? I want to help. I don't know how to help. So I appreciate you pulling that in, and we'll put that in the show notes for everybody, and we'll put it on our website where our event is, because where there's more awareness and knowledge, I think there's also more power in understanding how to help, so I appreciate you pulling that in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I also want to say I'm so excited for this event coming up, and I just want everyone that is going to get involved to know that it's truly making a difference within the lives of women. Within the last year, so for San Columbus, we currently have capacity for around 12 individuals, but again, it's like phased programming. So we've had around 15 individuals graduate this past year, but each of these ladies are working towards different things on, we call it their bridge to self-sufficiency. So they're working on all these goals, financial goals, family stability goals, education goals, workforce goals, all these things, and they're only given the opportunity because of individuals coming alongside them. And so we're really grateful to be a part.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's about making a difference. It truly is about making a difference. And so let's go into, we have 3 key initiatives that you and I were talking about for this specific event. And before we even go into our 3 goals, this is on our website, our Women Expanding Limits website. It'll be on our socials.
Okay.
It'll be email. Like, you cannot miss how to take a next step. And what I will ask those is, if you feel called, we're never about pressuring anybody, but if you feel called or led to want to make a difference in some capacity, that we will give the resources for that. We're going to talk about our 3 focuses for this specific event. But I always want to make sure that it is we appreciate it, but there's also no pressure. If you want to consume this information and be able to make a difference in your day-to-day life, like, that's just important. So with this one, is we have 3 goals for Her Song Columbus and our Women Expanding Limits. Our first one, and this is, I know y'all show up for this because you showed up for it a couple years ago, but it is to clear out their Amazon wish list. And you have stuff, I was looking at it, there's stuff for just daily housing needs. There's shoes on there. There's some clothes. It's some household items. And so we want to first clear that out. And there's all different types of items. It can be $5 all the way up, to 20 plus, whatever that is. But our goal number 1 is to clear out their Amazon wish list.
Yep. And these are items that are going directly into our residential programming.
Love it.
So these are shoes. So for instance, on there, you'll probably see a lot of shoes size 7 to 11, which is what we were looking for, because we had a lot of smaller sizes, but now our current cohort has larger feet. I mean, I have a size 10 shoe. And like, obviously that's not related, but like size 7 to 11. And so we are looking for those things for the ladies that are in the programming and whatnot. And so all the other things, like it might be toilet paper or paper towels or all these things that each of our 2 safe homes, we hope to have a 3rd safe home soon, are using on the day-to-day. So,
love it.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. Their Amazon link is in our website there. Number 1. Number 2, it hits home with us because we focus a lot on fitness, is we want to purchase a treadmill for these ladies. And I know if you're listening to this, you know the power of moving your body. And that's what we want to also gift you guys, as a treadmill. So around that, whether we work with somebody that has a really well-functioning treadmill that's almost brand new, or we want to purchase one out of pocket, which is around $2,000. So not necessarily cheap, but that is our second initiative for treadmill. Is there anything else you want to shed light with that?
Yes. So we recently moved to our new learning center, And with that, we had the opportunity to add in a small gym. This is going to be so impactful because it's actually connected directly to our classroom. So throughout the week, women that are in a residential programming, they're going to life skills classes. And these life skills classes are related to all the things we spoke of before, financial literacy, GED, things like that. But sometimes, as we all can get overwhelmed, we found that movement is so impactful for healing. And so if a woman during class needs to be walking or just wants to get away, our gym is actually directly connected with a window so she can still participate in class. And so we're going to be putting that treadmill right next to the window so she can still be involved with the others in her cohort, but is able to move her body and kind of regulate that way. So we're really excited for that opportunity.
Come on now, preach. And you shared with me individually that, you know, a gym environment, actual gym environment might not be the best for some individuals. It might, you know, trigger certain things up, or just going for a walk. We take for granted being able to go for a walk outside. That might not be as applicable. And so this treadmill is not just to get their step count up. It is to truly provide healing and through movement, which I'm excited about. So Amazon wishlist number 1, treadmill number 2, number 3 is support 5 women for 1 week of the Her Song Columbus program, which I am very excited about. And if there's anything else you want to share with that too.
Yes. So this, again, it's supporting 5 women for 5 weeks or for 1 week. And so we have found that it costs on average $40,000 to support 1 woman throughout the year. And again, this is, think of how much it would cost for someone just living costs, but then add into that a woman who might have medical issues from the previous circumstances that she's been in, or dental work done, or trying to get connected to her driver's license again and going through all these things. So it does cost more than one might think. But it's $40,000 per year, but then dividing that out, we came up with that number of,
I love it.
Yeah, the 5 women for 1 week.
Yeah. So our goal, if I'm doing that math right, it's about $5,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We have that on the website. So that is our goals. Our number 1, clear the Amazon wish list. Number 2, let's purchase a treadmill for these women to move and heal. And number 3, let's fund 5 girls for 1 week of this program. And if there's one thing I know about our community is that we know the power in helping others and banding together. And this is something that we cannot do alone. Right? Her Song cannot function without people believing in Her Song and also supporting Her Song. So I'm incredibly excited for this. And Beck, I just want to say thank you for, you don't just work at Her Song Columbus, you believe in the message and the mission, and you've been in some capacity since you're 18 years old. And there's just not a coincidence that God showed you when you were 18 and opened your eyes to a hurt that he has for this world. And he has you hurt for it too. So just thank you for being the person that you are, but then also be willing to be the one out there in the, not just looking in the stands, but like in the arena, making a difference for these women. It is so incredibly impactful.
Well, it is an honor. I feel like I have grown so much by looking towards the stories of the women that I get to walk alongside, that have become my friends, that have overcome so many different barriers, and have shown me like what resilience is. And so I feel like the longer that I've been in this work, the more grateful I've been, because I've seen women's stories progress and what they can do when they're given the tools. But then also that when they start believing within themselves of, hey, I can do this. I know that I can do this because my value isn't coming from something that's inside of me or that I'm having to search. It's coming from the Lord. So
Good.
It's been really, really cool to see.
I love that. Before we wrap up, any other thoughts, comments, anything to add?
I don't think so. I think another quick thing, if anybody wants to get involved with Her Song generally, there are volunteer opportunities as well. So we always talk about serving, volunteering, share the news about her song with individuals.
Yeah.
I will share those numbers with Kelsey too,
Perfect.
so that she'll know if you ever end up in a situation, you can be equipped if you have them saved in your phone, and then support of coming alongside financially and supporting this type of work. But feel free to reach out to me. I will give Kelsey my email, and then she can put it at the bottom of this. But really excited to be a part of this initiative too, and to just see how the Lord works.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you out for that day. It's gonna be
I know.
so
I'm gonna have
fun.
to like work out before I.
Oh, you'll be
I'm gonna
good.
have to train before. I've gone to the Faith RX now, so I feel like I need to train.
Hey, you're ready for it. You're ready for it. All right, crew. If you're wondering how do I take a next step or how do I support this, go to our expandyourlimit.com/women expanding with an X, not an E, limits. And if you scroll down, you're going to see For the One campaign, Her Song Columbus. There's 1, 2, 3 buttons. If you click the Amazon wish list, it automatically pops up. The other 2 buttons are for donating for either the treadmill and also funding the 5 women. And if you do that, it'll click the button, drop down to the Expand Your Limits, just drop down campaign, and that will go specifically towards what our initiatives are here. And I just want to say thank you in advance for you feeling called and also taking the step to make a difference in these women's lives and just making a difference in our community. This is in our backyard. This is not in a different country right now. It's in what we're trying to also progress forward. This is not even in just a different state. This is in Columbus, Ohio, in our backyard with women that you probably pass in your day-to-day life that you don't even realize. And so this is making a difference. You are making a difference. And before we close out, I'm going to finish this one a little bit different. I'm going to pray for us. Yeah. And then we're going to close it out. Okay?
Love that.
Dear Lord, I just want to say, first, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just for creating us and planning such a purpose for us. Before we even came to this world, you knew us and you created us for a purpose, Lord. And I just want to say thank you for the women that are coming together, the people that are coming together to make a difference for people in your kingdom, to allow us to be the light in darkness, to shine light on darkness, Lord. And I pray just protection of all of those women, of all of those girls that are doing specific things or in environments that aren't serving them. And Lord, I pray that you bring people around them that can believe in them, that can support them, that can ultimately show them that there is hope, that there is light, that there is just a better future for them. And Lord, you've placed a God-sized hole in every single one of our hearts. And Lord, I pray that you bring people around them that can shed their light, that your light on them, that can give them hope, that can give them a purpose and a plan. And I pray specifically for this For the One campaign. I don't pray that it to shine light on what we're doing, meaning XYL. I pray that it shines light through us and for the women that are going to be impacted by either the donations or the Amazon wish list items that will give them an easier path to heal, an easier path to ultimately step into the life that you call them to lead. And Lord, I pray for the people that feel called to actually donate towards this or help fund our mission and our campaign. I pray that just you have their hearts and that the people that do donate or don't donate, I pray that the people that are listening to this will specifically feel and sense that you are calling them home, that you see them, that you value them, that you love them, and that they feel loved, Lord. And I just want to say thank you so much for laying on my heart and laying on the person that connected me with Beck, and that you ultimately have the plan and purpose for all of us and everything that we're doing, and we just have to be obedient to it, Lord. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. I love you guys. As always, step out of your comfort zone. We'll have all the links in our show notes, and I'll see y'all soon.